It's weird because I walked today out down the path I used to walk uh, when I was 11 years old. When I used to walk home from Jefferson Elementary School, I had this, the path, and I walked on it. And in 1981, okay, I was 11 years old, and I remember I would always imagine, what if all these buildings that, houses that I'm walking toward, but I can't see yet. What if they're not even there? What if they're popping up as I approach them, like there's nothing there? I would imagine stuff like that. Like, I'm walking, I can't really see 5 blocks, around the corner. But like, what if these houses are popping up as I approach? That was one thing. And this is 1981. I was 11 years old. I lived with my aunt. She was a school teacher at the time. And I used to get a big bowl of Lucky Charms, Captain Crunch, honeycombs, whatever she had. I was going through a Lucky Charms phase right there at that time, and watch Our Dream of Genie. And I would go. She had her restroom. She had two restrooms, with the one toward by the living room. Had like all these little lamps, lanterns, lamps. And on the commercial break, I'd go pee real quick, and I would go in there and like rub the lamps, hoping that a genie would pop out of the lamp. I wanted some magic in my life. I just thought life was so boring that it had no magic. True story. And I remember one time I even cried. I cried and I was asking God, why can't there be anything exciting like magic? And I wish I could take that back. I went from growing up later on, seeing UFOs, to shadow men inside the windows, real people trying to come inside the window, to shadow men on the walls that were spirits. Several witnesses. Several. My ex-girlfriend was a CPS worker. I had an ex-girlfriend, a retired school teacher, and my ex-wife was a Jehovah's Witness. Never, ever, ever, ever did drugs, and they all witnessed stuff with me. I was dating this one woman who, if I found this, so she worked in the city of Carlsbad, and she worked in this. She worked in the city of Carlsbad, and she had a farm, well, a ranch. She had 12 horses and a donkey. And I remember I saw the Hat Man, Shadow Man, out there. And she was driving in, the headlights lit up the horses at night, and there was a man, shadow thing with a hat, and it was like a vortex, and I just felt the hate. But I mean, one thing after another, so many different things. Even from being attacked by a light demon and crying out for Jesus, and seeing all these white glowing orbs show up and save my life. And I remember just crying when I was a kid for that genie in the bottle of it, just for some kind of like magic. And I wish now I'm surrounded by reptilian hybrids. I just wish I could take it back. It's just like a bizarro life. Bizarro. I never knew there was all this like supernatural phenomenal stuff. I mean, you don't know me, but I know myself, and it's kind of really weird to have these experiences and to be the one with the experiences, and then not be able to like take you there with me in real life. I dated a reptilian hybrid for 3 years. I mean, I can't believe I'm even saying that, because at the time I didn't know she was a reptilian hybrid. It was until they came to kill me for uploading her video that I confirmed it. Unless they're just trying to play mind games with me, but her face did, and and there was always something dark about her. I'll be honest, she would have all kinds of this, like, her love just seemed too good to be true. Very strong and powerful, but then like when things were like emergency, she was never there, she was never really there for me. Now, she had told me that there was something wrong, but love is blind. But I mean, she had clothes, and we went to the swamp meet, and physically they're there. They operate, but they're different. They're different. But yeah, just all the strange stuff I've seen and went through. Now, the Mandela effect. I mean, I mentioned in a few videos that when I was a kid, the buffalo were extinct. They were completely extinct. I mean, that was common knowledge. You would hear about it, the dinosaurs and the buffaloes. They always went hand in hand, like peanut butter and jelly. Cereal and milk. It was always the dinosaurs and the buffalo were extinct. Dinosaurs and buffaloes. And the buffaloes, they bored me. As a little kid, dinosaurs, But then you think of it now, how what that meant. It almost meant like for the Native Americans, the Indians. That was a big thing for them. And oh, give me a home, and the buffalo roam, the deer and the antelope play. And she was singing that song, and she was singing another song. My teacher in class about the buffalo. She had a painting of a buffalo, and she would always tell us stories how we killed them off the earth and they were gone. And then a thing, smog. It was like a fog would come down, a fog. And on those days, you would have to hold your breath to the car. You couldn't go out for recess. And I never heard of it again. And by the time I was 10, it just kind of stopped. And I never really thought about it. But I know it had to be a different place because the buffalo were completely extinct. So I parallel shifted off and on through my whole life. One example was a bracelet I had. It was my mom's bracelet. It was like a leather bracelet. Orange leather one, old ugly one, and I borrowed it. I took it downstairs, or took it down the street to the duplex I lived in, and one day the holes were gone. You put that metal stick thing on your belt into the holes. How your belt has that metal thing, But there was no holes, and on the end of the belt it had the seams, how it's sewed up, so. If no one cut the belt, like you could say, well, someone cut the belt, the holes were probably cut off. But no, it had the tip of the belt, and it had the seams on the tip, But it's just bizarre, and the holes were gone, stuff like that. And then the manager at Albertsons, he was the cashier guy, and then 2 days later he was the manager, and then I congratulated him, and he said, oh, it was a rough year. I'm thinking, you were the manager for a whole year. It was only for like a day or two. But he was in his mind. So there's all these little things that told me I was shifting already, Other stuff too that turns out to be gang stalking, but I thought it was shifting. Like when the police, I was taking care of my aunt's house downstairs. She was out of town back in 1999. And the police came and they surrounded her house at night. They surrounded her house and were they were in all the windows with the flashlights, all the windows. And I looked out the front door and there was 12 cop cars, and they're just with the flashlights. So I put my shoes on, got dressed, and I went out there and there was no one there, no one. And I was like, wow, I go, wow. And I had thought I had parallel shifted because there was all these other things that happened to me before that. And now it turns out I was probably being gang stalked, because they did the same thing across the street a few months back when there was all these cop cars. It's just so bizarre, And these are reptilian hybrids because they can talk to each other through telepathy. If you try to imagine what I'm saying, imagine the cops, right? Imagine some cops are humans and some are humanoid. It wouldn't take much for the ones that could talk in their minds to say, hey, let's just go to that house really quick and do this really quick run. And then you have 12 cop cars just pull up and pull some false flag, some act, some Broadway play kind of thing, And you would never know, and their bosses would never know, because they're out. 20, 30 minutes later, they're back in their car and they're back on the road again. See what I mean? This is what makes the reptilian hybrids, this is what gives them the advantage over us. Is that they're able to do telepathy and organize stuff without talking. They can plan without writing to each other, without passing on notes. See, in the spy movies, we're always passing on discs, notes. You see where they get the advantage? But I'm telling you something. The one advantage that we got is we have God, the creator of all the universes, on our side. He loves us. He loves mankind. And I'm not saying he doesn't love them, but I'm saying that if he does, they're blowing it. If he loves them too, they're blowing it. See, when a man or let me say it a different way. When a creep goes out there and they rape a woman and there's a baby born out of it, and the woman keeps the baby, it's not the baby's fault. It's not the baby's fault. You don't make the baby pay. These reptilian hybrids are being lied to. It's not their fault. I believe they're born more evil than we are, and mankind's pretty evil, I admit, because they got the fallen angel DNA and they got mankind's DNA. There you go. But it doesn't give them an excuse. It doesn't give them an excuse to have the right to just do whatever they want to do. That's a cop-out. That's not taking responsibility. That's a cop-out. You know, if they want to be part of the human race and they want to be, you know, accepted by God and they want to have a life after this place, they have to get in line with us. They have to stand in line. They have to be responsible for what they're doing. They got to cease any demonic stuff they're doing and turn the other direction. All that stuff like, oh, I was born this and now I'm cursed, he's going to judge me. That's a cop-out. That's a cop-out. Straight out, and they know it. Deep inside, they know it. That's just an excuse. You know, that's what bad people always use that. You know, when you hear of a story, I went to writing school for a few months, and I remember the teacher told me, the villain never knows they're the villain. In their mind, they're always the good person. They're always the good one. The villain never knows they're the villain. See, that's a cop-out. Deep inside, deep down inside, they know what they're doing is wrong. God's not judging them for being born. They have to stop. What makes them special? You know, they can just do whatever they want to do. They think they're going to go on forever? No. What they're doing is going to cause 100% for sure a physical judgment on them. They're going to be damned. They're going to be in front of God before the sentence is carried out, and they're going to know it's coming. Unless they stop and stay with their own kind. It's not their fault they were born, but they got to stay with their own kind. And they got to stop from what they're doing. But, you know, that's what the conviction I get when I pray about it. You know, it's like the Spirit tells me, are you even asking this? And like, how ridiculous, you know, duh, you know. So yeah, that's what's going on. It's a crazy world, and here I am parallel shifting with the Mandela effect, and I found out there's at least 150 different changes. From the 4 little squiggly thing to honeycombs and Mona Lisa, just one thing after another. The planets, the islands, the rib cage, the brain, the heart, the liver, the lungs. I'm surrounded by reptilian hybrids, and I dated one for 3 years, and then I dated this other one down the street just 5 years ago, and it's just crazy, you know. I'm like living in the Twilight Zone. The Twilight Zone. But I'll tell you one thing. They have that advantage on us, and it gives us a handicap. But we have love. That's one thing they don't really have. They might have a little bit. I might be wrong. I don't want to judge them. I don't want to do a witch hunt, because we really don't know. I think they have some kind of love. I don't think I think the ones that came at the time of Noah were worse. I think they made these ones more closer to the human race. But they have no excuse for what they're doing, and they should be on our side. And I'm not saying they should do anything extra, because they're not supposed to be mingling with us sexually, so they don't really have to do anything but stop from what they're doing. But I don't really know the whole situation on what they are. God does. But if they're a living being that's aware that they exist, they're going to be all right as long as they just stop what they're doing. And if they can't do it out of love, they should do it out of just logic for survival. Now, and I'll tell you something. God is pure love. He has our back for sure. The human race is not going to be forgotten. They're not going to be swept under the rug. God is not going to let that happen. And when they mess with us, God will deal with them. I promise you that. Now, if they stop, God might have something they might like. There might be a surprise for them. And I'll leave it at that. But yeah, that's my life. My real name is Anthony, so I just say that. So that's I go by Tony, but that's my life. Joker 3121, Anthony Orion signing off for now. And you are on a parallel Earth, in a parallel universe. You have shifted if you're in the Mandela effect, and your body is not your body. It's your alternate other person's body. Your consciousness has been the only thing that has moved.
Nothing there has changed. You have moved millions of light years from home, and you're in a new body. And that's exactly what happened. Jesus Christ is God, and He's everywhere. He's here too, so don't freak out. And keep your heart with God, and you'll be okay. Thanks for watching.